Here's my shackle, my radio cage. It's not so bad. I have to charge it once a day. It's uncomfortable. They track me. I can only be at home or at work. It's what it represents. It's the evil and the tyranny it represents that's a constant weight. It's the shackle of a slave. But here's what people don't realize in America. You all have a shackle. We're all slaves. I just happen to have a visible one on right now. A reminder. But people don't understand yet. America's already gone. Liberty is already gone. People say to me, well, Gavin, we need to do something before it's too late. We have to save America. We have to save liberty. You don't understand. Liberty is already gone. If you don't believe me, think it through. Try not paying taxes on property you already own. Try not paying that speeding ticket that you were extorted for. And then they'll take your license. And then you drive, and when they're ready, they'll haul you off into a cage. And if you try to defend yourself, they'll shoot you in the head, and they'll put you in a box. In our current state of affairs, they might do that anyway and still get away with it, even if you've done nothing. You see, our nation has given up liberty. We've given up liberty for apathy and entertainment, sin and cowardice. We let our children's liberty die because we wouldn't step up for what was right. And so we sit around and we have discord and we fight, and our government hangs bait in front of us, and we fall for it, hook, line, and sinker. When people say, oh no, ISIS, oh no, Muslims, oh no, terrorists. And it happens all over again, and they line up to give up their liberties in the name of security, to sacrifice the liberties of their neighbor because they want to be secure. But liberty comes at a price. And when you compromise liberty for security, you have neither. The founders who spilled their blood to make a nation of liberty, that nation is gone. And so we say, well, we have to stop it. It's already gone. The question is, can we repent and restore it? I burn at the abuse of my neighbor. I'm tired of it. And I look around and there's confusion and chaos and excuses and distractions as liberty burns. The abuse is everywhere. It's all over the nation. So if you think it's coming, oh, it's going to get bad, it's already bad. America's already gone. The people are already being abused. You can name the names of the abused. There was more yesterday, and there will be more today, and there will be more tomorrow. Do you know the names of people like Schaefer Cox and Jeff Winehouse, who are in prison for decades for doing nothing but speaking their minds and being patriots? What about people like Kent Hovind and Paul Hansen, imprisoned for their faith for years? What about right here in Washington? How about Mr. Barbeau, arrested just recently by the FBI, one of our greatest terrorist organizations, for having a barrel slightly too short without the right permits and stamps? And people say, well, Obama did this or Congress did this. No, we did this because we allowed a government of terrorists. It didn't just happen. It's been coming and coming and coming, and now it's going off the edge because we let liberty die. For decades, you could be locked in a cell for having a gun barrel that was slightly too short, even though the supreme law says shall not be infringed, even though there's no such thing as an illegal gun. But we've allowed a court system that doesn't practice law. They practice terror and extortion and profit. We've allowed that to be called justice. We've allowed the kangaroo courts, the mock trials that are held. We've allowed the weak and the fatherless and the innocent to be abused And it's happening all around you. And as we've watched our football and waved our flags, they're dragging our neighbor from their home. They're dividing father against son and mother against daughter. They're tearing children away from families, and they're abusing and extorting. And we say, well, they should have followed the law. Not even knowing what law is. For law, the fundamental maxim of which is to love our neighbor as ourself, extends to government only in the protection of life, liberty, and property equally for all from conception to grave. But we haven't defended that. So I know where I stand. I know what I represent. I stand with Christ. And he calls me to be a peacemaker. He calls me to love my neighbor as myself. And people say, Gavin, you just like division. No, I don't. I don't enjoy it. But this is the time that I'm in. We have a nation of division, and even the patriots and the people who espouse liberty are distracted. And I'm saying we need to be peacemakers and defend liberty for all. And they say, oh no, ISIS, we should start killing people. While the greatest terrorists are right here, in silken robes and halls of Congress, abusing and extorting and terrorizing and enslaving this entire nation, making up their own law when law and truth cannot be changed, because its foundation is always a constant. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not defending Islam. Islam is a false religion of tyranny. But think of the difference. If ISIS walks down my block and is killing people and attacking my neighbor, no one will fault me for defending them, for defending liberty. But if our government, our black robes, our armored cars come to my neighborhood and drag my neighbor from their home or attempt to take my children from me, if the uniformed government officials come and I try and defend my neighbor or my family, the media will be complicit with them, and I will be called the terrorist, and I will be shot in the head or locked in a cage. The real terrorists you have to fear are right here. They're our own government, working right here on our soil. And those same terrorists are actually the ones setting up and funding organizations like ISIS. And so while we scrap and divide, the real terrorists are right here destroying our nation. And we let them abuse our neighbor. What about James Fair, who's been caged for months up in Okanagan County with no evidence against him? What about the Hammonds being hauled off to prison, taken away from their families for 5 years for what? For burning weeds on their property, and a few of the weeds got burned on the BLM public scabland, the property we own, as they were maintaining their property. And so they were charged with terrorism. They are being terrorized and threatened now for even speaking out. They're being hauled off to prison, and meanwhile, a few weeks later, the BLM shows up to that very same valley and starts burning homes, burning cattle alive in the name of whatever they were trying to do there. They came and burned weeds, and homes were destroyed, and cattle were destroyed, and ranchers were threatened with arrest if they tried to save their animals. The terrorists are here, and we've allowed them to be here in the name of security and safety and freedom. But we're slaves. So what do we do about it? Well, I know where I stand. I have my appeal to heaven, and I stand up and be a peacemaker by standing against chaos and tyranny. But here's the bottom line. Until America repents, until we stop tolerating the abuse of our neighbor, until we stop calling evil good and good evil, until we turn back to God. And I don't mean the government forcing my faith on someone or forcing religion on people. Don't even go there. Don't even try to spin my words that way. I'm talking about a nation that honors God like when this nation was founded. A nation that honors that foundation of what law is, because that's where liberty came from. That honors that natural law, that honors and defends liberty, that defends their neighbor and is not silent when they are abused. And until America repents and until we do that, We may have guns and we may even have a revolution, but it will just be a French revolution. It will just be more chaos because you cannot have liberty without the author of liberty in your nation and in the hearts of your people. And until this nation, its individuals, recognize that, until we defend liberty boldly and only allow a government that upholds liberty, religious liberty and liberty of speech, and liberty of arms, that upholds true law, until we cast out the terrorists that are running this nation, we cannot restore liberty. So I, for one, will stand on principle. I will continue to be a peacemaker by boldly standing against evil. You